For story number one, we're going to start off with John Bruce. John, this is a story that I'm going to read you the headline. I'm going to read you the first couple graphs, and I want you to comment. It's coming out of the Real Deal. So here we go. Headline: Lissette Calderon and Jenny Bernell talk rentals at the Real Deal Forum. And basically, the Real Deal is a publication that has a big operation down here in South Florida. They cover real estate kind of the close-knit market. And they just recently had a forum. So they brought in a bunch of people, put them on stage, and they got some comments. But this one sort of caught my attention. So again, a headline: Lissette Calderon and Jenny Bernell talk rentals at the Real Deal Forum. Here's the first couple graphs, John, that I want you to comment. South Florida multifamily developer Lissette Calderon's insurance costs have surged 30%, all while she's dealing with the higher interest rates on construction debt and skittish lenders. And this is a quote from Calderon when she was on stage. Quote is: "There's no question that it's definitely a different lending environment than it was in 2021 and 2022. And Lissette Calderon, by the way, she's a CEO of her name of her company is Neology Life Development Group. And the quote, she goes on to say, "The capital stack would look different today than when it was back then. Your leverage would be different, and you would have to put more cash into a deal." Calderon and her co-panelist, Jenny Bernell, founder of Clearline Real Estate, each approach the issue differently. Neology creates wiggle room in its project's budget through tech-empowered efficiencies, and Clearline is building in non-waterfront neighborhoods that are less susceptible to skyrocketing insurance. She also has completed equity fundraising. John, this is the first time I've heard a developer actually come out and say, listen, insurance prices, besides interest rates and supply chain issues related to labor and materials, but insurance price killing these developers. And later on in the story, Lissette goes on to say that, it's really a balancing act. Well, what do you make of that, John? Is she being straightforward more so than other developers, or she maybe doesn't have the track record and the other developers do, and that's why they don't complain about insurance prices? What say you, John?
Well, no, I mean, all those costs are adding up, and certainly developers and construction companies are not immune to rising insurance costs. But I think now lenders are very reluctant to lend on a lot of commercial real estate projects now. Rising interest rates, the regulators are all over the banks, especially the regional banks, because the regional banks are the ones that specialize in commercial real estate construction and development. And they're under pressure from the regulators to cut back on that kind of lending. And you combine that with the tsunami of apartment construction here in South Florida and really nationwide. And, everybody's worried about a glut of apartments and what that's going to do to some of these markets. And a lot of those commercial real estate loans, I mean, I've been reading a lot of stories about how a lot of these commercial real estate loans are might be going, into foreclosure. So it's going to be tough because a lot of these developers, especially the ones that have started building recently, are going to have to refinance at significantly higher rates. So it's not only insurance costs and labor costs, but now you're going to have these huge interest costs, and that might blow up some of these projects. And of course, the banks don't want to foreclose at all on these buildings or mark their books down to what the true value is going to be if we have a downturn and we have all these apartments, empty apartments. And the thing about Florida is Florida's boom and bust. I mean, we've had this huge boom of apartment construction, and thousands and thousands of units are coming online. Everybody's wondering if those are going to be filled or not. So, no, I think she's right on. I mean, she's being honest about what's going on. And what she said about the capital stack, she's referring to the way deals are financed. They're going to have to put more equity in. And, you don't see a lot of developers that really have the equity now to put in. So it's going to be a lot more costly. And I don't think rent increases are going to happen at the same pace. So you're going to have some projects that are going to be really sort of doubtful, I think.
I want to read another graph from the story, and then I'll open up to the floor if anybody wants to discuss it further. The paragraph says, rents won't drop to pre-pandemic levels and vacancies won't continue to decline. Calderon said demand is now fueled by would-be homebuyers who continue to rent due to roughly 8% mortgage rates. What say the Roundtable in terms of rental prices? Are they here to stay? They're staying firm, or are we going to start to see a retreat?
I think it depends on the location, first off. I mean, not where Lissette Calderon is building. She's building at La Pata on the Miami River in the areas that are not Brickell, downtown, Edgewater, Coconut Grove, not the hottest parts, but the right next to it, right? So where she is, yeah, rents are going up because everyone's like, this is going to be the next gentrified neighborhood, and they're part of that effort to do it. I'm not sure that rents are seeing that same growth or that they won't go down in places like West Kendall or Doral or Homestead. For a long time, the American affordability strategy has been drive till you can afford it, right? And
Right.
that's like what it's happened in the past. Now, obviously, there's a lot of preference, especially for people moving into Miami and for younger people to live near the urban core. But there's also a lot of people that the same way that they're deciding to, I don't know, if their job is remote and they can move to somewhere a little cheaper in Fort Myers or in Broward County, they could do the same thing by going to other places in Miami-Dade. So I'm not sure. I think that applies to where she's building and the urban core, but I don't know about other places. So I think it'll be different what happens in the urban core with rent as the person.
Interesting.